Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to be looking into the future. A few videos ago, last month, so at least a handful of videos ago, we took a look at various distances into the future to see some interesting events that were coming up. Of course, the interesting thing, to me, the different thing about those events is that I didn't really know what I was looking for. I was told that there would be interesting things on certain future dates and then went to look for them. So I was seeing them for the first time, as many of you would be. We are going to do the same thing here, and we're going to start by not going too far into the future really at all. We're only going forward to 2028, and we're going forward to the 18th of March in 2028. And we're going to be taking a look for Venus. That is what I know. That is what I know so far. And of course, if we're looking forward, if we're looking for Venus, then that means we need to be looking close to sunset or sunrise. There is Venus. So here we are. We'll take a slightly closer look. It does look incredibly bright here. We're seeing Venus at a half, and it is magnitude 4.4 there, reduced to 4.18 due to the atmospheres. It is incredibly bright. It's about as bright, I think, as Venus is going to get. And we're seeing it nice and far from the sun here as well. There's nothing in particular around it, so it doesn't look like there's going to be an occultation or anything like that. But it does look incredibly far from the sun. So we can see it there. If I just take a look at its measurements, how close it is to the sun, well, it's going to stay the same distance from the sun. I'll need to check its distance from us, or we'd have to be on Venus and I'd have to check its distance from the sun, you know, from the perspective of Venus. There we are, just a little bit earlier. We can see it's having that close conjunction with the moon and Saturn. But I think this greatest elongation is particularly great due to the angles. Venus gets incredibly far from the sun, or at least appears to stay very far from the sun because of the angle at which we're seeing it. So just a month ago, we got to see Venus above the sun. So we saw Venus at sunset and at sunrise. It does look like during this elongation, it looks like it reaches, it looks like it's reaching its greatest point around there, around maybe a little after the 18th. But this particular elongation seems to be lasting for quite a while, and it's going from right next to Saturn there all the way through to right next to Mercury a little bit later in its orbit. Yeah, it does look like it's almost exactly on the ecliptic. That's what I'm going to check here, because that is one of the ways that Venus could appear further from the sun, or appear to hang in the sky for longer. So if we bring up the ecliptic here, this is the ecliptic of date, so it's got all of these tick marks on it, but that doesn't matter too much. And we can see there's Venus crossing the ecliptic. It is hugging incredibly close to the ecliptic for this entire cycle, I suppose. So we're seeing Venus. Okay, Venus is going to come out from the sun there, towards 2027. We're seeing Venus go past Mars, Mercury, and it's staying almost exactly on the ecliptic. So it looks like Venus and the Earth, it looks like Venus and the Earth are pretty much on the same plane here. So that might explain why we're seeing Venus for so long in this particular cycle. And this one, so that lasts for an incredibly long amount of time. That lasts for almost an entire year there. So of course, Venus's year is a little bit shorter than our year, but when the Earth and Venus, because we're both moving around the sun together, if we're both moving in a similar way at a similar time, if our orbits line up just right, then it can look like Venus is staying in our sky for longer than usual, or that it appears closer than usual. So that particular cycle there, that's a long one, and we're definitely seeing it, around, maybe around there. We're getting towards our greatest elongation, and we can see it's pretty far from the sun. That is this one in particular, this one in 2028. That's not too far in the future. There is a pretty good chance that I'll still be making videos looking at these things just a few years into the future. So this is one that I do feel confident saying that we'll be able to come back and take a look at. The very next one, looking all the way forward to 2097. That one, maybe I will still be recording videos. It's certainly not impossible, but I do feel like it's less likely. So we're looking forward to 2097 here, and I don't have a particular date to look for. I just have a planet to look for, the planet Mars. So we're going to move through the night here, and we're going to find Mars. And you can see here we're looking, not 100 years into the future, quite far into the future, and all of the constellations and everything are staying the exact same. We have to look an incredible amount of time into the future for constellations to change. So we're going to start, we're just here at the beginning of 2097. This is the year I was told to look at. We can follow Mars here across the sky. There it is, getting blocked out by daytime, but we can see that it is quite bright there. It's low in the sky for us here in Ireland, but we're seeing it just there at a magnitude 0.5. So that is really quite bright. We can see there about as bright as Saturn, a little bit fainter than Saturn, but very, very bright. So it does look like it gets pretty bright during 2097. We'll have to start moving earlier now so we can see it. Down to -1. So it's definitely getting down to -2. This looks like Mars pretty much at its brightest, down to -2 point. The bigger the negative number, the brighter the object. So down to -2.8 there. Getting reduced to the atmospheres due to the atmospheres, but we are seeing the ecliptic very low here, where this is summertime. We're looking into 2097 during the summer, so the ecliptic is going to be high during the day with our high summer sun, low at night with our low summertime planets and moon. It's not a very well-known phenomenon, but the planets and the moon are lower when they're at their highest in the middle of summer compared to winter. But there is Mars at -2.8, reduced to -2, but that's still incredibly, incredibly bright. Like, that's brighter than those stars. If we take a look for Jupiter or Sirius, either one would be a good comparison here, or even Venus if Venus is back up in the morning. There they are both in the sky together, and Venus is there -3.9, so almost -4. Mars is there at -2.8, so almost -3. There's only a magnitude of a difference between them. And 2097 looks like a good year to make a comparison as well. There's Mars at that incredibly brightest, and we'll start pulling back, getting closer to morning time. There we are. Mars is just -0.024. So it's after changing, two full, degrees of magnitude. And magnitude is a sort of a log scale. Each step of magnitude as in the magnitude of an object, the brightest magnitude. There's the mean opposition magnitude of -2, but we're seeing it at so much higher than that when we get up to its opposition that we're seeing in 2097. And the opposition point, of course, we can see how close we are to the opposition point based on how full it is, and we're only getting it to 99.8% full, presumably due to the angle. So this is something that we've run into with Mars before, not seeing it at 100% full. But we are looking pretty far into the future here, 2097. But if you are young enough, hopefully this video will still be in existence then, and you'll be able to make that comparison between the beginning of the year when Mars is almost on the far side of the sun to this part of the year where Mars is much, much closer to us and incredibly, incredibly bright, much brighter than I've ever seen Mars, for sure. So we're not looking too far into the future for that one there. The next one is significantly further. So we're going all the way forward to 2729, and we're going forward to the 9th month, I believe, and we're going forward to the 8th day. The 8th of September, and we can see Mars is actually quite bright there as well, and we are looking for Mars. So this lines up pretty well. I wonder if Mars is getting significantly brighter. It's not, but it is incredibly, incredibly bright. So it does look like Mars regularly, maybe it's every few hundred years, maybe it's every few decades, but Mars does seem to be able to get these incredibly brights, these incredibly high brightnesses. It looks, to me, it looks like it's getting a little bit brighter on the 10th, but even there on the 8th, it is incredibly bright, much brighter than we'd normally see Mars. We can see it's much brighter than Saturn. I'm pretty sure it would be brighter than Mercury, or brighter than Jupiter, but I'll have to double check Jupiter's brightness. Now, it is getting extincted by the atmosphere, but we can see Jupiter there. Jupiter there at -1, Mars there at -2.85. So we're seeing Mars there as the second brightest planet. The brightest planet in the sky, because we're not seeing Venus. We're not seeing Venus here in Ireland on those particular dates. It's too close to the sun. You might see Venus if you're closer to the equator, but that far forward in 2729 on the 8th, we'll say the 8th of September, Mars is going to be the brightest planet in the sky. And with our view there in 2097, with Mars being pretty much that same brightness as well, the second brightest thing in the sky after Venus, instead of Jupiter being the second brightest thing in the sky. So this, again, I hope you have this to look forward to. I hope you get to see Venus's very long elongation in 2028. Of course, that's not too far in the future, so we may get a chance to look at that again. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it. Press the like button if you liked it. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel if you'd like to see more. And if you'd like to read some of this information, you can head to my website, queebeanscontent.ie. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.